Welcome to Move with Miranda. My name is Miranda. I am a physiotherapist and ballet enthusiast. Today we will be going through a home-based pre-point strengthening program. This is absolutely suitable if you are on point already to maintain strength and aim to prevent injuries. So to begin, let's bring our feet into parallel or sixth position. You may like to bring your hands onto your hips or out in rubber. Gentle bends and stretches to start warming up through the body. So if you have not already, I highly encourage you to see your physiotherapist or podiatrist for a pre-point assessment. It's probably best to discuss this with your ballet teacher as to when is the most appropriate time to have this assessment done. But normally around about 11 or 12 years of age is when I would typically see most dancers. This does not mean that you will be going on to point straight away. Some people may have a couple of months of strengthening exercises to prepare for point. Some people may have a few years. But having a pre-point assessment around about that 11, 12 year age is a really nice starting point to give you an idea of where you need to go with your training and what muscles you need to work on, and also discussing with your dance teacher about any specific techniques you may need to work on as well. Let's do 4 more here, and then you may like to hold on to your bar or continue to face the front. I do not have a bar at home, so I'm using a chair. So turning to face the bar or the chair, continuing in parallel, and we're going to come into a releve. Plie, releve, and control down. Plie, releve. Now you may not like to come full onto demi-point here while we're still warming up. You may like to just come up halfway. Very gentle with the fingers. So as we're warming up, looking down at your toes, you want your toes to be long, lengthened and soft. We do not want to be curling and crunching through the toes. This uses different muscles. The muscles that curl or straighten our toes, they're our intrinsic muscles and they're within the foot. They're quite short muscles. 4 to go. And 3, 2, and last one. Hold up on the toes from here. Again, you may like to face side on or front on. I'm side on so you can see me a little bit easier. Staying in parallel, rising high onto your demi-point. Little bend, heels lower, and press to stand. Rise, little bend, heels lower, press to stand. This is all part of our warm-up. Continuing as we are. Now when we have a look down at our ankles, we should make sure, continue as you're going, that the line between our ankle bones is the center of our ankle. Now this line should come through and connect between our second and third toe. So this line here should stay nice and steady when we're in any standing position. So be mindful that we're not rolling out or rolling in or fishing or sickling our ankles, and continuing to have nice control and nice alignment all of the time. Let's reverse. So plie down, heels rise and press. Plie down, heels rise, press away. The muscles that control the ankle, there's essentially 3 different groups. We have our muscles that control whether our ankle bends or pulls back or points or flexes. And these muscles are located within the calf. Then we have muscles that go across our ankle joint, and these affect whether our foot is fishing or sickling. And then the ankles that affect the toes and the arch of the foot, and those muscles are within the foot. So we've got 4 quite specific areas. Last one here. and stay rising. We're going to come to a little walk and alternate and alternate. Keeping lifted up through the trunk. Pelvis stays level. Watch that alignment of the feet and nice and long through your toes. You may need to give your toes a little wriggle just to remind yourself of where they need to be. From here, we're going to come into some rises. Now, these are really important. So generally what I'm looking for to encourage someone to head towards point is they need to be able to do at least 25 single leg rises. A lot of girls will come in and say that they can do that, but when we have a look at the technique, they may only be able to do 5 or 6. So I will teach you how to do these correctly. Therefore, we will be engaging the correct muscles. So come in, face onto your bar again. Feet stay in parallel. We're going to rise up and lower. Rise up and lower. So we're keeping that same alignment. The middle of the ankle is staying aligned with between the second and the third toe. And we're taking about 2 counts up and 2 counts down. So these are our double legs. We are aiming to get to 30. I will go through 10 together. You may like to pause the video and continue. But it is more important that you do less of beautiful control than more of poor control. 1 more. Beautiful. Come into a single leg, so staying in parallel, making sure the leg that is lifted is not in contact with the other leg. Fingers are gentle. We will go through 10 single legs. As I mentioned, we're aiming for 25, but only if we can get 25 with correct technique. So see where you're at today, and gradually as you continue to do these exercises, you will get stronger. And you'll be getting yourself ready for your first pair of point shoes. Continue to look down at your foot, check that your toes are lengthened. Be mindful that we're not rocking forwards through the hips. Our body is going straight up. Our pelvis is aligned. Really getting that sense that you're coming up over the foot when you're high on that demi point. And change sides. 2 counts up and 2 counts down. So if you only have time for a couple of exercises each day, then absolutely put your energy into your double leg rises and your single leg rises. Lengthen through the toes, lift up through the chest, keep the pelvis nice and level. You will see I'm shaking a little bit. This is definitely my weaker leg on this side here. I will do 2 more. You are aiming to build up to 25, even 30, and relax. Give your legs a little shake. We're coming into some balance now. So same in parallel, rising 1 leg. I don't mind where you put your hands, making sure the lifted leg or the gesture leg is not in contact with the other foot. If this is quite easy, you may like to rise up onto half or full demi point. You may like to use a folded towel or a cushion, or you may like to get a wobbly disc or a wobble board or a foam pad. You could discuss this with your ballet teacher or with your physiotherapist or podiatrist as well. We are aiming for between 10 and 30 seconds here, and then we will swap legs. As we are standing here, really think about drawing the knee up. So we are aiming to work on this little muscle here, our VMO, or our vastus medialis obliquus. This is one of our 4 quadricep muscles. So really lifting up through the kneecap. And this is the same when we're doing our double leg, our single leg rises, always lifting through that kneecap, engaging that muscle on the inside of the knee. And step back down, bringing your feet parallel. Let's have a look at the muscles that are involved to turn out through the thigh. So when we come into our first position, the movement comes from our hips. The large majority of the movement should come from the hips, with a small amount coming from below the ankles. So when we come into this position here, feel the muscles just above the hip. So come back into first position. This should feel nice and soft through here. The muscles we want to work to hold us in our turnout or our externally rotated position, they're down through here. They're quite low. There's a group of 6 little muscles in through here. So when we come out into our first position, we don't want these bigger muscles up the top to engage. It's these little ones we work. And when we're here on 2 legs, it shouldn't be that challenging for the muscles. So come back to parallel, coming out into first, and feel that these stay nice and soft. If you come out and you feel them squeeze and pop up, you've probably pushed your rotation a little bit too far, more than you've got the strength to control. So just keep that in mind as you're coming out. So we're wanting to feel a little point in through here. Drawing up through the knees, and we're going to complete our heel rise series in first position here. So rising up and lowering down, looking down at your toes. Check that you're long through your toes, that we're not clawing or gripping. We do not need to use those little intrinsic muscles in our foot. We are using the bigger muscles that come down through the back of the leg here, cross over and attach onto our heel bone. These are what are moving our foot in this position. Let's do 3 more. Thinking about the engagement of those deeper rotators, those 6 little muscles that sit underneath, not those big ones at the top. We don't want to compensate with those. Let's do 3 and 2 and 1. Coming to single leg, rising up and lower. 2 counts up, 2 counts down. Drawing the kneecap up, looking down, long toes, keeping that alignment from the middle of the ankle to the middle of the 2nd and 3rd toe. Keeping the pelvis nice and steady. When we're on the single leg, those deeper rotators, those little 6 muscles need to work harder here. 2 more. Again, we are aiming to get to 25 and swap. Same again, light on the fingers, lifted through the kneecap, long toes, and nice and square through the pelvis. So be mindful that we're not twisted away or forwards. Length through the spine and lifting up lightly through the chest. Very gentle through the fingers. Feeling those deeper rotating muscles holding you in this turned out position. 2 more. Now if you find you can't do as many on single leg, that's absolutely fine. That's completely normal. Just do as many as you can control. Coming into one leg, and we're holding our balance here. Again, you may like to stand on a foam block or a wobble board or a cushion disc, cushions or folded towels. To make this more challenging, you may like to rise up onto demi-point here. Aiming for 10 to 30 seconds. And then we swap to the other side, feeling those deeper muscles engaged to keep you turned out. Just your leg, not touching the stance leg. And release. Coming back to parallel, we're going to bend our knees a little. I'll come side on so you can see. We're rising up into demi. but we're not coming all the way up this time. We're coming about 3/4 of the way up. If we come all the way up, I can lock into my ankle joint and my muscles don't have to work very hard here. So we want to keep the pressure on these muscles and make sure they're working and controlling our ankle through this motion. Toes are long, keep the alignment of the ankle. Continue. So previously, we spoke about using this large muscle up here that was connected onto our heel bone that was pointing and flexing our foot or rising us up to demi point. This time, when we have that bend through our knees, we're using a smaller muscle that sits underneath and comes down lower. It does connect onto the same tendon, but this helps to work when we are bent through our knees. This is called our soleus. Another really important muscle. Rise up, relax. Let's come into some single legs in parallel. Little bend, rising up. Aiming for about 20 with these ones. So this muscle is not as big as our gastrocnemius, as the bigger calf muscle. So this should be quite challenging on your legs. It's certainly challenging on my legs. Let's do 4 more. Keep the alignment of the ankle, length through the spine. Keep nice and square through the hips. And then we'll swap over to the other side. Little bend, rise and lower. Only about 3/4 of the way up. You may be like me and notice that you have one leg that is definitely not as strong as the other side. I don't know if you can see, but my little leg is shaking as it comes back down. I find this one quite the challenge. Lengthen through the toes, lift through the trunk. Let's do 5 more here. Only about 3/4 of the way up. 2 and 1. And press up to standing. Beautiful. Coming into first or parallel, we're going to come forwards and roll up. Reaching forwards and roll up. From side on, we're coming down with a nice straight back. Then we curl down and roll up. Bring your feet into parallel for the last one. Reaching forwards, curl down, stay down. Little bend through the knees. And then press through the floor and straighten the legs. Bend, breath in. Breath out, press up. Breath in. 2 more. Last one. And roll back up to standing. You may like to grab a drink and have a break here. We are about to come to our floor-based exercises now. Coming down onto our hands and knees. I really like this exercise because it helps us, particularly when we go into our jumps, to be able to land without tucking down through the tail as we land. So coming into all fours and gently pressing the floor away with the hands. Shoulders are over the hands, knees are under the hips. Curling through the back, big curl up, and then arch the other way. And just take note of how much movement you have through your spine here. It's quite mobile. Some of you are probably far more mobile than I am. And then gently decreasing how much movement we have here. And slowly but surely, we will come to our neutral spine in the middle. From this position, we should have a nice little curve through the back. It's just gentle through here. Imagining there's a string from the crown of our head to our sit bones, and we're lengthening from the crown of our head to our sit bones. Drawing our body back, lengthening through our sit bones towards the wall behind us, and rising back up. So quite often when we land from a jump, we may curl under and lose that nice neutral spine. Do 4 more. Breath out, control through the spine. Breath in, back up. Breath out. Two to go. And last one. Beautiful. Coming down onto your side. Bringing your top leg in front of you. If you have some towels or some cushions, you might like to stack your top knee up so that your pelvis is aligned. In fact, I highly recommend that if you can. If you have some ankle weights at home, you may like to pop these around the ankle on the leg at the bottom. And the aim will be to gradually build up with those ankle weights. Today we are going to start with the weight of the leg. So lifting that leg up, keeping our ear, shoulder, hip and heel aligned. Our ribs are connected to our spine, so watching that we're not arching out and flaring through the ribs and losing that neutral spine. We're aiming to hold our leg for 60 seconds, roughly. So we are aiming to work the inner part of the thigh on the bottom leg. Lengthen through the leg. Imagine we are pressing our heel away. Be mindful not to kink in through the ankle. Top leg is relaxed, regardless of whether you have it stacked or on the floor. Taking some deep breaths here. Now, these muscles that we're working on are incredibly important. Whether we're lifting the leg up and having the control to bring it back down, or when we're standing on the single leg. We're going to do some little pulses at the top. We're going for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, beautiful work, 3, 2, hold it up, all the way down and then all the way back up again for 10. Nice and controlled. Checking we're maintaining that neutral spine. Relax through the neck and the shoulders. If this is easy for you, by all means add on the ankle weight. You should be able to get them from either your local physiotherapy clinic or your local sports store. And one more. Straighten both legs out. Legs are stacked one on top of the other. Ankles are flexed. Top leg lifts and holds up. Pelvis stays square. Be mindful that we're not rolling backwards or rolling forwards. We're nice and level here. Bring this top leg down in line with the hips and then lift it back up. This time we're working through those bigger muscles at the top part of our glutes. Really important, particularly when we may be working on our extensions. This is what will help to allow for a nice fluid lift up from the pelvis, through the leg, nice and long through that top leg. We have 6 to go. Make sure you breathe and keep the upper body relaxed. Hold it at the top. We've got some little pulses here. You might like to pulse it, or you might like to do some circles, whatever you prefer. You should be feeling the bottom muscles working here. These bigger ones here up the top. 3, 2, 1, and press up to seated. Hug that knee in towards the chest, give it a little cuddle. Feeling a nice stretch through the buttock. And we're going to come down on the other side and repeat that same sequence. Control down onto the other side. Lift and hold. Again, you may like to stack that top leg. If you have the cushions around, I recommend that you do that so that then your leg sits up at this position here. Press out through the heel. Keeping that nice neutral spine, pelvis is aligned, upper body relaxed. We are aiming for a 60-second hold here. Keeping the leg up, keeping those inner thigh muscles engaged. And congratulate yourself for showing up for your workout today. It's another step closer to getting onto your point shoes. Well done. It's a very exciting time. Little pulses, 10 little pulses. 5, 4, 3, 2, all the way down and all the way up for 10. And then that is all of our inner thigh work done for today. Three to go. And 2. And 1. Press yourself up to seated. No, we nearly forgot one. Take the legs out long. Lift that leg and hold it. Oh my goodness. Keep that leg up, feeling the buttock muscles, holding the leg. Again, you can do all of these with an ankle weight. I would probably recommend starting with a 1/2 kilo or a 1 kilo weight. And you may even like to put it above the knee to begin with. And then if you can get through this sequence, then you can take it towards the ankle. I'd start with a 1/2 to a 1 kilo weight above the knee for your inner thigh work. And that's when we do it on the bottom leg. 5, 4, 3, relax the upper body, 2, and 1. Hold it, little pulses at the top or little circles, it's up to you. Keep neutral through here, rib to hip connection, 3, 2, and press up to seated. Hug that knee in towards the chest. Should feel a gentle stretch through here. And then coming to a little butterfly stretch. So ankles, ankle bones, heel bones, pressing down and gently lowering down through the knees. You might like to have a little flutter, just gently here. Rolling down onto your back again. So bring your feet flat. Reaching the arms up and gently scoop through the belly. Scoop, scoop, scoop. All the way down to the floor, hands are flat. I want you to be able to tickle your heels with your fingers. Tuck the tail under and pressing up. Control back down. The tail stays tucked under and then it releases at the bottom. Tail tucks, peeling up. So we're really thinking about engaging the muscles through each level of the spine and really thinking about articulating through the spine. As we lift up, think about the knees pressing away from you. And we're working into our glutes primarily. One more like this. then hold it up here. Lift one leg up and hold here if you can. You may like to add some toe taps. Pelvis stays level. Watch that you're not dropping down through one side. Keep it up. Tail stays tucked under, pressing through the heel of the supporting leg. One more. Swap legs over. Squeeze through the bottom of the supporting leg. Tail is tucked under. 3 to go. And 2. And 1. Lower back down. Feet to the floor. Peel lower. Good. Peel back up. One more round. Pressing up. Leg lifts. Hold it here if we can. You may like to extend through the leg and flex the foot and point. Flex and point. To make it harder, you may like to cross the hands or reach them up. It's up to you. Point on the way down, flex on the way up for 8. Point and flex. Point and flex. Last one. Swap legs over. Lift it up. Lengthen through the knee if you can. Flex and point. Flex and point. 2 more like this. Then we reverse it. Keep the pelvis up, the hips level. Heel down and point up. Flex down, point up. 2 to go. Last one. Bend the knee to the floor and lower. Well done. Floating one leg to tabletop, followed by the second. Heels of the hands touch the knees, and then you know you're in the correct position. You may like to have the hands beside the body, across the chest, or reaching up. Tap and lift. Alternate tap and lift. We are aiming to keep our pelvis nice and steady here. You may like to make a little diamond with your hands. Your fingertips on your pubic bone, the heels of your hand resting on the side of the pelvis. Breath out, breath in. You may like to extend the legs and do the same thing with extended legs. Use your breath to help you with the movement. And if you are feeling particularly strong, you may like to take both legs down at the same time. 4 to go. 3, 2, and 1. Back into tabletop. Leg comes out to the side and back in. Other side out and in. Now the leg that is steady does not move. Imagine you're balancing your drink bottle on top of your knee. And feel the difference with having your elbows down on the floor versus having them up. And then take the same arm as leg away and feel how your body wants to rotate to the side. Four to go. And 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful work. Reach the body out nice and long. Point the toes. We're going to come up to seated. Breath in, breath out. Reach the arms, the crown of the head. Breath out. And lift up. Beautiful. Coming round to face the front. Soles of the feet together again. Heel bones together. Little flutter. But fantastic work today, guys. I hope you've really enjoyed today's session. Please put down in the comments what your favorite exercises were or what you found the most challenging that you know that you need to work on. So if you have not seen a physiotherapist or potentially a podiatrist already for a pre-point assessment, and you've been doing ballet for about 5 years or more, and your teacher has suggested that you have one, I highly recommend it. The whole idea of a pre-point assessment, take one leg out to the side, reaching out and over. The whole idea of the pre-point assessment is to give the physiotherapist an idea of where you are to start with and prevent injuries. Because once we go from demi-point to point, we have 3 times the amount of pressure through those muscles in the feet. That's a lot of extra load. One more. Swap to the other side. Over we go. Two more. Last one. And back up. Bring the hands out in front of you. You may like to clasp the wrists or hold them out, whatever you prefer. Lengthen through the spine and rotate around to the right. Imagine your spine is like a spiral staircase. And back to the center. Breath out, other side. It's so important to have mobility through this upper part of the spine, the thoracic spine. Particularly when you go into your arabesques, so that your movement is nice and controlled and we're flowing from the movement of extension through the hip, the pelvis, the low back, and it disperses the load through the body. And relax. I like to finish each session with a short mindfulness. If you'd like to join me, close down through the eyes and take 5 slow, deep breaths. And just note how your body feels now compared to when you first stepped on your mat today. You may feel a little stronger, a little braver. You may not feel any different, and that is okay too. On your next breath out, gently open the eyes, come back. Give yourselves a clap. Fantastic work today. I really hope you enjoyed the session. I look forward to seeing you in more sessions in the future. Thank you.